You're listening to a Benstown and McVeigh Media Podcast Network production. Run It Again is an inside look at the players, the coaches, and the business of sports with former NFL star and broadcaster Ron Pitts.
And 2 minutes later, I was back in the same Oklahoma drill that I got the concussion from.
And the mastermind behind the greatest show on turf, Coach Mike Martz.
And we want to force him into a vanilla defense and go to work.
Run It Again is a hard-hitting, no BS podcast that connects you directly to the source. This is Run It Again.
All right, Mike. Super Bowl 56 is in the books. Well, I got to ask you, was it a surprise? I mean, at the end of the day, was anything surprising to you at all?
Yeah, there are two things that surprised me. The main thing, I think, I was surprised how good they were up front for Cincinnati.
Yeah,
the defensive line, they just shut that running game.
Oh, the D line. Yeah.
And then of course the linebacker too. He was ridiculous. He might have been the player of the game. You know, had they won, they had to give it to him. But
yeah.
And then I was really surprised. This is a coaching thing. The Rams did what we said we'd hope that they would do defensively. They went into overloads and started to blitz them.
Yeah.
And the thing that was interesting about it, Cincinnati adjusted, but they only have one or two. They have 2 or 3 protections, so they just adjusted protections. They never did anything with the edges. They ran the ball at the edge a few times, got big runs out of it,
and then they stopped.
They played with open edges, and they're not good enough to do that in the offensive line. And every time they opened up out of the huddle and they came out, and there was no tight end on the edge to help, and they just, the drive that they went in and scored. They ran the football, and they did a good job with it. At the end, they started off kind of hunting and pecking, and they never got away from that. They just never really, other than that drive when they ran the ball and they hit a couple big throws. But at the end, one of the things about those sacks is, and I wish I had the coach's copy to look at it, but from a structure standpoint, to me, Ron, from a coach's deal is, if you're going to get pressure, even though you got guys account for them, you always give the quarterback a quick throw just in case of the receivers that you have. But all those receivers' routes were kind of at the same level. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't going to get anybody free. At that point, you just start running crossers. You just got to say, okay, you're going to do that. We're going to run them across the field, shallow drags and things, and
pick somebody up.
They don't do that. Yeah. They don't do that. And so they just kind of stayed with what they do. And that's why the Rams – the overload and the blitzes, they did it because Cincinnati's never really changed it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they adjusted by how they were blocking it within the protection, but they didn't adjust it with personnel. And that bothered me. I just don't like them with that offensive line playing with open edges. And at the end in that last series, he got off his read too quick. He felt the pressure for sure. He just got too quick.
Yeah,
they did a good job of doubling Arnold. They did a good job early, and then what they ended up doing is, when they do that, then the edge rusher on the other side is freed up. Of course, you can't help him. So they did a good job defensively. The Rams did, and I was just disappointed in the lack of continuity or lack of a plan, if you will, with the offense. I just didn't think that was good at all. And Mixon played really well.
Yeah, and they came out. And they caught a couple edges on the run game, and they gashed the Rams, and that's what they had to do because that was the one thing that the Rams never reacted well to this season.
But Ron, what they did, excuse me, their formations were so vanilla.
Yeah,
they just line up in a static formation.
Yeah,
everybody knows what to do. When you're running the football, you start changing guys around and losing force, and It just looked like real remedial football to me. And I hate to say that, but I was bothered through it. Please do something. And you've had 2 weeks to prepare for it. And that's the best you got, really?
I thought they were going to give the Rams a lot of formation, a lot of adjustments, a lot of motion, especially with Chase. And I know Chase will work inside. They didn't do any of that. Because that's what Green Bay did to him with Devontae Adams. That's what Tennessee did to him. That's what San Francisco does to him. And they have success, and they didn't do any of that. And like you say, they got away from that run, especially in the third quarter, Mike. When Cincinnati had the lead, there was and I remember they were going right to left. Can't remember exactly what time, but they had the lead, and they went 3 and out on throwing. They threw the ball. They didn't try to run it. And I felt like, wow, you just wasted a possession. And that came back to haunt them. And the Rams opened the door on them. Our gate left the door open with that dropped extra point or field goal. That was an extra point, by the holder. So
going into the fourth quarter, Cincinnati had complete control of the game. I just, they're headed and they looked like they're going to blow the doors wide open. But
it did.
Yeah, the other thing that really bothered me is it's all this next gen stats garbage. 50-yard line, 4th and 1. It's in the first quarter. You go for it. What's wrong with you? You can't do that.
I saw that. I know.
You can't do. I mean, I said, well, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You punt the ball, you pin them down the 20-yard line, make them go the long road. They'll screw it up, and you get the ball back.
Yeah.
But you put any team on the 50-yard line, that's where they got touchdown. They got a score out of that.
Yeah.
And I just the coaching end of it I thought for Cincinnati wasn't very good on offensively. Defensively, I thought they did just a terrific job against the Rams.
Yeah, that backer, that's Logan Wilson, 55. He was
he's the best player. Other than Cooper Kupp, he's the player of the game to me.
Yeah. No. That's true. And he had a lot of tackles, and if you watch him, he always finds a ball. I always think good linebackers just find the ball somehow, some way. And
they always get through. He gets through his keen diagnosis is instant, and he gets through traffic really well right away.
Yeah.
And the really great ones do that. And that's too bad at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, their last series before the very last series, second last series where they got the drive coming, and the kid drops the ball. That's a difference.
Yeah, that was big.
Because if they get a first down there, the Rams they're not going to have time. They're just not going to have time.
I don't know if the kid would have gotten it, but it would have been a 4th and inches for sure. But
I think if he gotten it, if he held on to the thing, momentum would just carry him right across the line.
Right. That was that was big. And then the last drive. Okay, so the Bengals are on defense, and here come the Rams, and man, the writing appears to be on the wall. They're just going down the field, inching down the field. Then they have a holding call on Logan Wilson, the linebacker, on Kupp coming across the middle of the field. And, I guess we could debate this all day. There was a mild cloth grab, but to me,
he wrapped him up though. He was trying to keep him from getting inside, and when he tried to come right, he wrapped him up, and then he ended up reaching pull. To me, it was holding, but
really,
we had 17 of those in our Super Bowl that didn't get called.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he absolutely held him coming off the ball on the release. He wrapped him up there, but then as he got away from him, he reached out, grabbed his jersey, but the ball was poorly thrown anyway. So
yeah. Okay, so they gave him that one, and then they had the debacle in the end zone when they went penalty against Cincinnati, and then also offsetting penalty against the Rams, and so they redid the down. Yeah. It just felt like when they got down there, I felt like the game is over. I know it's easy to say now, and Kupp ran a little stutter shake and stab inside, and that just seemed too easy, Mike. That was like second day of mini camp. That was just wow.
With him, I don't think you can. And he's such a physical guy. He's a very strong guy physically. But I think with him, if you lay off him, he's so sudden. You got to get your hands on right away, I think.
And they did that early. Did you notice what they did to him early? They had a corner or sometimes the backer. They had a guy on him, and they were pretty physical. He was harassing him off the line, and then they had a linebacker that would look right to Kupp. So in essence, it looked like a soft double from someone inside. And
inside release, he zoom out to him, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that was effective early. But Stafford, he got away with the 2 interceptions. One a tip, but I can't remember what. But he got away with the 2 interceptions. The one to Bates, and you made this point all year long, especially late in the year, Mike, that something's going on with his arm. And I actually spoke to someone tight inside the Rams organization last week that confirmed there is something going on with his arm.
Something in his shoulder, because when he tries to drive the ball flat, he can't do it. Yeah. If he throws the ball up, it's like that pick in the end zone. First of all, it should have never been thrown. I don't know what he was thinking about that. That's just a dumb throw.
Well, that's right.
And
we've seen that before.
Yeah. He just never got anything on it.
Yeah.
He just couldn't drive it in there, And the other pick, he just really actually got the ball on the receiver a little too soon.
Yeah.
The receiver came out of it and it shocked him a little bit.
Yep. And then
even if it's just a fraction off, but he's expecting one of the other receivers he's used to in that too. So his timing was off just a little bit with that. I give him that, but the deep ball was just, you can't do that. And then of course they go down and get a field goal instead of a touchdown. I mean, there's so many opportunities for Cincinnati to put this game away, and they just couldn't do it. They kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit,
Yeah. Mixon ran for 72 yards.
Yeah.
And that didn't surprise me that they tried to do it. I actually didn't think they were going to have that much success. And to your point, okay, if you're having that much success, find a way to stick with it. On that fourth down play, this is for the game. Mixon wasn't even in the game and wasn't involved in the play. He may have been in the game, but he wasn't involved in the play. I believe it was P. Ryan that he tried to get the ball to out of the backfield. And that ball looked like it was catchable, and it would have had to been a dive and a catch. And then the play before that, they ran something with P. Ryan and he came up short. That's what led to that fourth down.
Yeah.
Now, why isn't Mixon in the game?
He can't catch.
Okay, but why isn't he running that ball? Did they feel like they needed a heavier, bigger guy, one of them deals?
Okay, so even on the 4th and 1 they ran, they were playing with open edges on 4th and 1. And you're going to run the ball. That doesn't make any sense.
Gosh.
It doesn't make any sense.
Earlier in
it's
the game,
a light in the ass defense. You're really on the edges.
Yes.
They just put 2 or 3 tight ends in there and run power. They ain't gonna
run power.
And Reader hadn't made a tackle all year. He's not gonna make a tackle.
Hey, no. That's earlier in the game. I think it was was it a fourth down? I think it was maybe it was a third down. And they ran a little flare, a quick outside throw to the back, and he got the first down. It was a beautiful play.
Yeah,
I can't remember if he faked anything inside, but bam, it was out of his hands. And you got to come with something like that. Just give him some motion, some movement, and then come with that.
But that's what I'm saying. There was just a lack of creativity. They're afraid of making mistakes. It looked like I coached with guys all through my career. Like most coaches are like this. In a big game like that, just do what we really know good, and we'll do it well, and we'll be okay. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You got to have a little something extra, and that's the mistake that Sean made in the first Super Bowl that he admits to. In this one, he was creative on both sides of the ball, and that's why you win.
Yeah,
give your guys the best opportunity to win. You don't come up with the same stuff over and over, and all of a sudden they line up and they got an overload and a shift geared, just for your protection, and you can't hardly do anything with it.
Right. Cincinnati was dead set on smashing the Rams' run game now, and they did it.
Oh, they took it away. There's no question they took it away.
Yeah, they ran for the Rams a total of 43 yards. So, and that was number one. I knew they came to play. The DJ Reader there along with Hill.
Well, Reader they were really big plays against the run. Those ends crashed on the running game, and they just. Here's Cooper Kupp. They rave about his blocking ability on the edge. It just took him and threw him around like a rag doll.
Yeah, that's for TV people that don't really know. I thought all in all, the Bengals did a pretty good job of they weren't going to give up the deep ball. Not that Stafford could throw it right now, but they weren't going to give that deep ball up. That was clear. So I think they played a lot of quarters and stuff like that, some cover 3. So they were going to make Luan Aroma, the defense coordinator, he was going to make them bleed down the field. On that final touchdown to Coop, I'm not sure I would have lined up in what looked like man, and then the last second play read 2, which is a full zone coverage with guys, literally 7 guys standing at the goal line and just beyond the goal line. It just seemed too easy for someone to get beat. I don't know.
But once you get outside the 3 to the 5 yard line, it's pretty hard to play the red 2 because You could hot a guy in red too, and he'll catch it for 3 yards.
Where was the ball? Was the ball on the 5?
No. It was down around the 2-yard line.
It was down around the 2.
Penalty. Yeah, they got down.
Oh, because of penalty. Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. You can't. Yeah, before that point, I'd have played.
I'd played the red 2 against him because takes away the throws to the outside.
Gosh, yeah, that was.
And they wanted to play so much man down there, and that's where they got the.
But they're not a good man team, and they get pressured by one guy, and that's Hendrickson.
But they were playing man a lot mixed in, and every time they played man, it seems like they got blistered.
I would, and their corners aren't those type of guys. Apple,
they're not.
No, they're not those type of guys. Interesting. Cincinnati had everything they want to happen in a game to help to help you upset someone. Odell Beckham, he goes out with the injury after scoring the touchdown. And that was big. I thought that was a game changer. I thought that was going to be the difference in the game. And maybe it was. It kept it close. Remember, they were already without Tyler Higbee.
So they get down after that interception on 30 going in.
Yeah.
And then make a couple plays, and he scrambles inside. And they get down to, I guess the 6 or the 8-yard line down there.
Yeah.
And they just throw it. They just throw it. And I learned this from Norv Turner and Larry Zampese. You gotta make a run at it down there.
You gotta run the ball at least once or two. Yeah.
You gotta blister him and make him play football, and that's where then you come back and throw it if you need to. But it's all hindsight is But I just didn't. They just looked like they weren't sure what they wanted to do on offense. That really bothered me.
Yeah, and remember Zach Taylor? He's a former McVay disciple there. They were on that Super Bowl team. He was there for a couple years, quarterback coach, receiver coach. So you'd think he knew this team better than anyone and knew what he could do in some situations. But that big game pressure is different. I think it affects.
Plus, when you talk about guys at that age, and this sounds like an arrogant statement, I don't mean that, but they just don't know enough football yet.
No, that's a very accurate statement.
You just don't know enough football yet. You get guys like the defensive coordinator. He's been there. He knew how to deal with it. He came up with a good plan. Both defensive coordinators did.
Yeah.
Young guys, here they're doing this. What do we do? Well, just turn this. No, change your personality. Big games, you better have some good stuff that puts those guys on edge. You can't just do what you do. That stuff is gone, and that's what they did.
Yeah, you've always said that. No, you said that. Hey, I'm kudos to Whitworth, not just Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle for the Rams, not just for winning his NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year award, but here a guy is 40 years old, the oldest player in the league, the oldest starting left tackle in a Super Bowl, and he's literally playing on one leg.
Yeah,
and he going up against a really fine defensive end in Hendrickson. And I thought he did a pretty darn good job.
He did. And I tell you, he did a great job at that award ceremony a few nights before that too. Yeah. When he got the Man of the Year award, he did a great job of the speech there. And Dick, congratulations to Dick Vermeil too
Dick, that's right.
The Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's been a while, but much deserved. Much deserved. Something interesting happened to Whitworth. Early in the game, Hendrickson made a nice move on him, got around the outside. And when I looked at the replay, Hendrickson, I think, got a hit on or a sack on Stafford. But when I looked at the replay, the announcer said that the back, Cam Akers, had knocked Whitworth off of his angle while trying to block Hendrickson. And I'm not sure that's what happened, but I hear Jack Slater talk about that all the time. That back, you gotta be careful chipping, okay? Because sometimes they'll chip the rusher away from where the tackle's setting.
So there's a lot of teaching going on when you have backs there chipping. Number one, in the protect, you can't just have him chip and not tell the tackle.
Yeah, he's got to know.
You have to let the tackle know that he's going to get help on this. That's number one in this protection. Number two, when he sets, he's going to really protect inside, because when you chip, usually the rusher ends up inside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and when you chip, you tell them back, if you're going to chip, you need to get a huge piece of him. You can't just bump him and go. That doesn't do anything. Yeah. And when you hit him, you can't sit and then chip from a pass set. you got to attack him like you're run blocking him and then go, because that disrupts his initial rush, and that's what you want. But to sit back like that and then chip in there, you can't do that.
Yeah, no, he waited to see which way he's going to go, then went, and then he ended up running into Whitworth. It was ugly.
You can't do that. You've got to release outside immediately, and that way the rusher sees you too. And then when that happens, they kind of shut it down.
Yeah, he ended up inside.
But what happens is, well, then the Whitworth should be able to set inside if he knows he's getting a chipper.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was some confusion there because they both ended up inside, and here comes the DN out on the outside. So,
well, they may not know. They may not know how to teach it too.
Yeah.
Because when you tell a back to chip, you got to do it on the run, and you got to do it quickly so the tackle can get set, and it sends the message. If you wait, that's what the defense wants. He wants you to wait on that, and he can deal with that. Yeah. But if you go in and it's late and you try to chip him, half the time you knock the tackle off his block.
Yeah, that's right.
You want to get him chip on his way to exchanging with the tackle. Right as they get engaged, you don't want to do it late. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to chipping to make it. It can cause sacks or it can absolutely help. So you just got to know how to do it.
Yeah. Correction here. Mixon 15 carries, officially 72 yards.
Yeah.
So rushing for him, that was a big day. You know, a guy for the Rams that I felt he might have a challenging day. And he did a little bit, and one bad call against him, and that's Jalen Ramsey. You know, people have learned how to go after Jalen. I like Jalen in press. I don't like Jalen in man-to-man press. I like him in man-to-man press. I don't like him in man-to-man off coverage.
All right, so here's the deal on those receivers. Here's what they did to him that's kind of been the mode or the fashion of the day here in the last maybe 5 years in the league. On go routes, corners, there's so much chicken fighting going on with their hands and the arms.
Yeah.
And that's, as from a receiver standpoint, that should never happen. If you've got real speed, and this is what we did, and it works, and you could see it because they did exactly this to Ramsey. He went out to get his hands on him, and they ignored him. They just kept their arm pump.
Mm-hmm.
So if you run downfield and you do this and you time them, your speed's way up. But they ran right through it, and they didn't try to engage with them. And young receivers, you got to know that. You know, once you start fighting back with a DB on a deep route, you're done. You're done. You know, receiver, you've got to keep that arm in and keep the hand pump and focus on the ball. And if he's going to bump you, fine. You get a flag then. But as soon as you start to engage him, then you just, and that's what they did on both those when you look at it. That receiver just ran.
Yeah, he just went outside speed release.
Yes.
And he went wide.
Yes.
Right. But now the corner has got to go cut him off. And if a guy can run, well, now you're in a track meet, and that's not really what you want.
And then both those guys can run. So
yeah. And then you know, he got away with the face mask pull. I mean, that's going to happen. But that's the way the game.
I just thought Chase would have been a lot more involved in that game than he was.
Yeah, they got him in late there. He had a nice play coming down that last drive, and I was surprised. I thought they were gonna use him like the Packers used Devontae Adams all over the field, motion, shifts, all of that, and they didn't do that.
Ronnie, he's the best player that they have.
Oh, boy.
And for him, how many catches did he have? 5 or 6 or something like that, or?
He had 5 catches for 89 yards.
That's horrendous. I mean, he should have 12, 13 catches in a game like that.
Yeah.
You know, for a couple hundred yards. I mean, throw him a screen, throw him drags, throw him a drag. He'll run away from whoever's covering you. Throw him a drag, and get him in space and let him run. But they just, like I said, I was so upset with what they were doing on offense. It just puts the players in a position with their hands tied behind their back, and that's not right.
Yeah. How bad? That sounds bad to say it like that, but their offensive line, you know, they hung in there early with the Rams, and I think the score helped them hang in there early, and the fact that they were running the ball, so they really couldn't get exposed. But then later on in the game, especially toward the end when it counted the most, you know, Aaron Donald got in on them, and they started to show weaknesses, and they got to him. And that was my question coming in. At the end of the day, will this offensive line be able to handle the Rams up front?
So what they did with that overshift is They first of all, they doubled Darnold the first half of the game. They doubled him. At halftime, they went in and said, okay, they're doubling us and we're going to do this off the edge so that they can't. So they have to turn the protection the other way. Yeah. So that's why they went with the overload. So then he got singled up and he started having success. But I do really believe, Ron, that, and I didn't notice this before about Burrow, but probably half those sacks were his eyes came off and he's looking at the protection. He should have gotten rid of the ball.
Looking at the rush.
Yeah.
He's looking at the rush.
Especially the last play of the game, he just hung on to the ball too long. It's the last play. Throw it up. If it's picked, it's picked, but find it and just throw a shot in there. Don't wait for something to happen. That's all on Joe. That's all on Burrow. That series is all on him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right. You knew they were coming. Well, for Cooper Kupp, it's a dream season becoming even more of a dream season. NFL Offensive Player of the Year honor, and now he wraps it all up with a Super Bowl MVP. I remember when the year they went to the Super Bowl, they didn't have Kupp. He got hurt, and that was a lot of people said things may have been a little different. If he were there, I don't know if that's true or not. But he was healthy this year, and
Ronnie, because they made no attempt. What happened is they were going to run the ball. The Patriots went to a 5-down look, shut down the run, and then it was 5-on-5. Their offensive line wasn't very good, so when he tried to get back and throw, they sacked him. He wouldn't have made any difference in that game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do. Yeah. But he's made a big difference this year. He's been their guy. And to your point about Jamar Chase not being involved enough, McVay made sure that Kupp was involved, especially when they needed it the most.
No question.
Every game, every single game. Yep.
But how do you have a guy like Chase? Now they threw him a deep ball, great. But how do you not focus on him and move him around and throw him the ball? Especially if you're going to throw the ball as much as they started to throw the ball, you ought to be targeted most of the time, don't you think?
Yeah. They didn't have the tight end who I like, CJ Uzama. I like him a lot. They had him, but he wasn't 100%. He got some in there. What did he have? I don't even think he had more than 2. Yeah, he had 2 catches for 11. He's kind of been their big guy. He was lucky to be out there in the field.
And T. Higgins, he's a good player, but they're not Chase.
It's not Chase.
They're not Chase. So
not Chase. Yeah.
When the dust settles and you got 5 catches and to a guy like that can take over a game like Cooper Kupp can, then how in the world? I mean, you got to look at yourself in the mirror when you get home.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I should say they didn't have Uzama like they've had him in the past when he was healthy. Not that same guy. But man, it's hey, you were telling me about how the beginning of the game of a Super Bowl can just drag on forever.
It's awful.
And I saw it. I always understood that, but always working it from a TV standpoint, we were always busy during that time. Okay. So it didn't feel the same, but watching this game, the players are standing on field and now they got 3 different songs going, plus the national anthem. Then The Rock did his thing. And then someone else is like, oh my gosh. Well, that was a wrestling thing. Yeah.
He was on there for about 10 minutes. As soon as he came on, I turned the channel. And that was because I was watching the Olympics or something. No, I was watching golf is what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because the tournament hadn't ended in Arizona there. So they're in the playoffs. So I turned back thinking it'd be over with in the kickoff. And he was still talking.
Man, that was
but it's 35. It was 35 minutes for us in the second, and it's guys are standing around. And you got to sit there and go through all that, and money. It's just all about money.
It's all about money. Yeah, but if you're a player, you're just standing there. Think about it. Now you've come out of the locker room. Now you've already done warm up, okay, and you've gone back in. Now you come back out. This is get down time. And now you've got to somehow wait around for another 35 minutes and then go full speed. Wow.
If I'm a player and I'm looking at the Rock, he's going to say a couple of words, boom, then you go. But it was a cameo. God. I mean, the damn thing wouldn't end.
Oh, gosh. And apparently they loved it. And I hope the folks back in Cincinnati loved it.
I didn't hear it, so I mean, I turned the channel immediately.
Yeah, it was basically a Michael Buffer, on steroids kind of thing. You know, Buffer does his da 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 da. Let's get ready to rumble. Well, The Rock did a little more. Yeah. I knew you would like that. But
it was as if you thought that whole thing was about him.
Oh man, it was funny. So now, does this mean that because it's a copycat league, does this mean that every NFL team now will go out and just try to build a team with stars, you know, a super team? They said in the beginning of the year, as the Rams were doing this, you know, they picked up Odell, then they picked up Vaughn, you know, and then they did this and then that, and it started with Stafford in the offseason. People said, well, star teams don't work. I think, I don't know who said that. Star teams don't work all the time. Blah, blah, blah.
Whoever said that's never been on one. You know, or never coached one. They work.
What'd you say? Yeah, they work.
Yeah, they work. You know,
that's proof right there. It works. Yeah,
it gives you the best chance to win. Heck yeah. I mean, it doesn't always work, but it gives you the best opportunity to win. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, I think they did. You know, they picked up the safety, receiver, a rush guy. I mean, they had a list of about 8 guys that they signed here. So I thought that they were way ahead of the curve of everybody else in the league.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know what the cap is. And I don't know what the salaries are going to go.
Yeah. And
that whole thing might blow up now, and they may lose a whole. But I don't know what their situation is with the cap, with their salaries.
But it doesn't matter if it blows up. It's like the 49ers back in the 90s when they had Steve Young, and they had Carmen Policy in the front office there, and they leveraged the team's future. They mortgaged the future.
Right.
To literally buy a Super Bowl, and it worked. They did that. So who
did it in New England for years?
And New England, well, right. New England's done it for years. Boy, that's like at a different level of going into salary cap purgatory. They did it scientifically somehow, man, and to carry it that far. But now it's finally caught up with them. But Mike, at the end of the day, if that was your goal as management, do you really care what happens from this point on? For Stan Kroenke, the $5 billion stadium, $3 billion over budget. You brought in, every player you could find in the NFL to help you win this thing, including the quarterback. You've got the Crown Jewel Stadium. Does he care at this point?
No. Yeah. I'm not sure he ever cared really, but I think the biggest thing is he wanted to establish that, the venue there, and the team is solid, and get everybody back, like the stars come out, all the people there in LA. Yeah. But it's going to be a tough haul for them now. As long as they're winning big like this and having great success, that's great. But as well as I do in LA, you slip a little bit, there's nobody in the stands.
We were on live, Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater, locally here in the news. And, we did about 3 hours of pregame coverage. And I said, listen, this is LA, and that means one thing, okay? LA is not a sports town. And everyone went, what? Wait, what? What are you talking about? I got Dodgers, got Lakers. I said, listen to me. It's not a sports town. It's a winner's town, okay? They don't care. They don't care about NFC championship games. They don't care about, made it 6 games into the World Series but lost. No, you have to win here. So to your point, Mike, that's huge that they now finally, and this is their first win as a Los Angeles Rams. Okay. The Los Angeles Rams struggled here to get to this game and win this game. They got there once, with Ferragamo as a quarterback and lost to Pittsburgh, but this was big in that regard. Now, can they build up the fan base? Because, it's funny, the fan base following still isn't all the way back. I believe Stan Kroenke said that publicly. They've got to still earn that back. And this is a big step in that direction.
They'll never happen. Not in LA.
Why?
They got too many things to do. They'll go occasionally. And then if they're not winning, they'll find something else to do. You got the Dodgers are playing, or, the Lakers or the Clippers or the Kings or somebody. There's always something going on in LA, in California, and they're not going to go. It's not like being in, or Cincinnati or Cleveland, even, where you got to suffer through some really bad, but they're still in the seat. It's not going to happen. It's a whole different, like you said, it's a whole different environment.
Is that why the team moved to Anaheim years ago?
They moved to Anaheim thinking that it would increase their popularity in Orange County. It would draw in the Orange County people, you know what I mean, in the stands, because they were playing up in the Coliseum. And they just didn't. They felt like people that could afford to buy the tickets are going to drive that far, and they identified Orange County as a big target for them to get people to go to the game. Didn't work. There were cardboard cutouts in, the stadium.
I remember that. No,
we
I remember.
We were getting 25,000 people per game. It was awful.
No, I remember that. It just the culture in Orange County, and heck, I grew up partly down there, so I know what I mean. Whole deal. Yeah,
people aren't going to go.
Different.
They're just not going to go.
What they say behind the orange curtain. Yeah, it's just so. Okay, so now, all right. I'll start with the story. Okay, so I'm at the car wash this morning. And I'm thinking, okay, man, Rams won the Super Bowl. Boy, if this is Buffalo, if this is Green Bay, if this is, I don't know, Kansas City, the whole landscape would be red.
They haven't gone to bed yet. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Haven't gone, right. Green and gold, whatever. There's people out there. Okay, blah, 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 blah. I see none of that. But I do see a guy with a Raider hat on.
Yeah.
And no, he knows who just won the Super Bowl. But he wants to let everyone know that I'm not with that part over there. I'm a Raider fan, and that's been part of the Rams organization. Concern is half of the base is old school Raider fans that are still mad and still follow the Raiders, and then the other half is Ram fans. And part of that is split with a sprinkling of Charger fans. It's just like you've got all of these mixes in here. And then you got people saying, I'm neither. I love the Dodgers, or I'm Lakers. Oh, my gosh. You're right.
Or I'm an SC guy, or I'm UCLA, or whatever
it
is. Because the ticket, and plus I think the tickets are cost prohibitive for the average Joe out there to go see a game with his family.
That's true now, Mike. Right. But so when they went to Anaheim, wasn't there that concern to get the Hollywood stars out to the games and all of that, because that's what it feels like they're concerned with now. That's where the big money is, right?
Well, that's always been the case. Even when I went to the Rams when they're in Anaheim, the stars are always showing up. You see them, Kevin Costner on the sideline, and whatnot. They they do that, but the fans that are the week to week fans that are there come rain or shine, no matter what, like they are in most of the other cities in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen here. Just, as well as I do in Southern California, there's too many things to do.
How do you split this fan base here? How do you split LA between the Chargers and the Rams and all of those, and the Lakers and the Dodgers? Like you say, someone's got to wear 5 or 6 different hats to pull for LA sports. They don't do that.
Well, I think obviously there's plenty of people. It's just getting them plenty of people with enough money and interest to do it.
Yeah.
It's just like you got a guy who loves sports. He's going to go see the Rams in the season, and maybe they're not 500 or they're like 500, or he's going to go kite surfing. Or he's going to go play golf. What's he going to do? He's going to go play golf. It's cheaper.
Hey, no, if I had my choice, I might drive down to San Diego and play golf with Mike Martz. Hey,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting to see what happens there, because they are still concerned about that. And you made a great point. Now that bar is high, and that's the worst thing that you can have in LA is real high expectations.
Yeah.
Because teams have tried to fight through that before. And the Dodgers got over that hump before a while. Remember, they couldn't get out of the World Series game with a victory, and they finally got it, but people were just starting to bash them around. I was surprised, Mike. They were like, I'm off the heck with the Dodgers. Screw the Dodgers. That's a good team.
So I do think this, Ron. I do think this. I think like what's happened with the Chargers, Herbert is a personality in kind of he puts people in the stands because kind of who he is. Young guy, real personable, just kind of
personality without really being a personality. Yeah, he's not an ostentatious guy. Yeah, that's interesting, right?
The blue collar guys, they like watching him because he's one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Rams will ever have that.
Yeah,
because they don't have like the greatest show on earth where people show up to see that. They don't have that. They have, or like like Herbert has going on down there. There's not, or like even like the Packers have, you know, with the quarterback history there and all the quarterbacks that they've had there.
And the legend, the history, the legacy.
They don't have
there.
that.
They don't have, no, that's
they don't
interesting.
have that. They don't have a great back. They have a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah.
They have a great defense. They have a great receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very much like LA, isn't it? They have individuals and they have people.
It just gets, it just blends.
Yeah.
It just blends in.
Yeah. We'll see. Boy, but
if you're at Green Bay, what are you going to do during the fall? In deer season, you're going to put your orange on it, and then you're going to show up.
Deer hunt. Right. That's right.
But you're still going to show up Sunday at the game.
Oh, no, that's right. You're
and when it's 2 degrees in December, the only thing you can do there is go to the football game. Really, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
My deal is, you look at the Browns, they'd show up at the stadium no matter what. My hat's off to those guys. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, right. No, that's right. Teams will do that. No.
It's just a different, it's just different in Southern California, as you know, Ron. It's just, I don't know if that's ever going to happen for any professional team here. Now, the Lakers have established that, but, a lot of championships too.
Yeah, it's like they don't just want one championship. They want a dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you give us a dynasty, like the Dodgers have done that, and Dave Roberts made some great strides the last couple years here. He got that dynasty run going again, I think, and so that's been big.
Just imagine if Belichick and that whole thing was here in LA all those years, winning all those Super Bowls.
Yeah. Well, they'd be the Lakers on a football field. That's what it is. Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to achieve here. But we'll see now. It's one Super Bowl is that's one Super Bowl. And these fans want more.
Well, they make their money whether they put them in the seats or not. Yeah. So they'll just
Yeah. Well,
they tried not to win for so long, and then when they got them to LA, and once the stadium was built, then it was really important for them to win.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sean McVay, we'll close on this one. Sean McVay came out this week and gave hints of possibly retiring for a TV deal if he wins the Super Bowl and blah, 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 blah. What is all of that?
It's probably his contract is up. I don't know what his contract situation is. I don't know if he had a 4 or 5 year deal. Yeah. Sometimes that's just blustering to, because, basically Stan's never paid a guy, he's never done that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He never paid the head coaches, like the rest of the league. So, and I don't know what he makes. Maybe he makes a lot. I don't know. But I think just watching him, I think he's a brilliant young man. I think he's very intelligent. I think he's just one of those high energy guys that just goes. And I think this achievement is just one thing in his life, and it's time to move into something else. I can understand that. I can see that.
Well, that's the new leverage play now for coaches. If you win one, do what Bruce Arians did, a couple other guys did. You jump out, get into some TV. Gruden. Now all of a sudden, your value passively rises.
But here's the other
sideline.
thing.
Yeah.
He has stop and go. He's got 2 buttons, stop and go.
Yeah.
He goes so hard for so long. And, because I've been there now. And when you're calling the offense, you're the offensive coordinator and you're the head coach. And it's really hard. After a while, and especially if you're a fanatic about details and all that, it just, I think he probably just wore out a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
Even at his age, it happens.
Yeah. Now, when you were in St. Louis, Kroenke was with the organization. He was a part owner.
Yeah,
I don't think he was a full. Yeah, he was a minority owner. He wasn't the full owner.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right. But he's owner, and he was always good to me. I have no complaints about Stan. He was good.
Yeah. Well,
but I was never with him when he was the
majority
owner. Yeah.
Majority owner. Yeah.
I always dealt with her.
Yeah.
With Georgia.
Georgia Frontier. Yeah. Well, this is going to be interesting. They finally got what they wanted. I think a lot of people in the organization worked hard for this and projected this, and congratulations to them. Because as you know, Mike, getting to that big dance and winning it is a whole nother deal, and it's a hard deal.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, wow. I guess that's it. Great. We're coming back next week.
Well, there's a lot of things to talk about right now about all those big name quarterbacks and what may be happening, who's going where, and what's going to happen, because this is probably going to be one of the more interesting off seasons for some of these established players that I've seen in the league for a long time.
Yeah. And to McVay's, we're talking about McVay there. Our producer Roy Hamilton just sent me a note. $8.5 million per season, up until 23. Wow, that's
a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what the stress. That's what the stress is for. That's what the money's for all that stress and stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, he's made his dimes now. He doesn't. He can kind of do what he wants. He's set for life.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the way it goes. All right, Mike. We will we'll officially wrap up the season next week. An 18-week season plus playoffs and Super Bowl. Whew, man. Yeah. These the players right about now, they're looking to rest up, especially guys like Odell Beckham. That was sad to see him go out. That was a torn ligament, torn ACL, and you could tell right when he stepped down, that thing went.
He's just never had a season where he's healthy, seems.
Yeah. Well, to his credit, it wasn't in vain. He got what he was looking for. So
no question.
He can rehab with a clear mind. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. See you next week.
Thanks, Ronnie.